Howdy, it's Jim Arado, and this is late September 2022. We're in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Specifically, we're at Stanley Park, and we're in front of the aquarium. And check out that gorgeous statue there. I think that thing is awesome. Now, this was the meeting spot for our walking tour that we would take, and we would do, let me give you a little information about it. We would do the Forbidden Vancouver walking tours, and we would specifically do their Dark Secrets of Stanley Park walking tour. We would have a great guide named Ash, not to be confused with Anne Shirley because she looks just like Anne Shirley, and not to be confused with the villainous Hot Ash from Canada's Heartland TV series. But yeah, she was our guide. She was great, a young, energetic storyteller who really just hit it out of the park. And she took us to some great locations, like this old polar bear enclosure where they used to keep bears for people to see. They kind of had a zoo thing going on at one point, and they had polar bears in that exhibit. I want to believe up until the mid-90s. But yeah, and she tells some great stories about that. And of course, also the X-Files, were filmed. The first 5 seasons were filmed in Vancouver, and she mentioned that some stuff was filmed right here at this enclosure. If you happen to know which episode that was, let me know. I'm kind of curious. I was trying to figure that out the other night. Yeah, there's Ash up ahead, and yeah, there she is holding up some pictures, telling us about the polar bears. And yeah, kind of, sad that they kept the polar bears here, but they eventually left the area. And she told a lot of other good stories about some robbers and criminals hiding out in the area, hiding their loot and that kind of thing. And yeah, this little area right here factors into a couple of stories. But yeah, if you're in Vancouver, definitely take this tour. But Ash, yeah, and she took us to several great places in the park with great views. Of course, you get that great skyline view over her shoulder. Yeah, there it is. Just a pretty city. And you've got this great park nearby. If you lived in Vancouver, this would be such a great place to walk around. And not far from where we're standing right now, where we were just at, is Dead Man's Island, which is a fascinating story in its own right. I believe it's controlled by the military at the moment. You can't actually go over to Dead Man's Island, but you can look right over at it, which is interesting. And again, an interesting story goes along with it. And of course, Ash told us about why it's called Dead Man's Island. And she also showed us some totem poles and explained their significance in this area. And I wanted to say this was a great walking tour. It was supposed to be 2 hours long. I know we were with her well over 2.5 hours. You definitely get your money's worth. And it's a great tour. And it's the kind of tour where, yeah, it's 2 hours, but it's going over and nobody cared at all. It was such a great tour. Everybody just kept going with Ash and hung on every word. It was just a really impressive tour, and I wanted to mention that. They do other tours also throughout Vancouver, and I did see a little note on the website at the moment. I'm not sure when you might be watching this, but it looks like this walking tour was on hold at one point. Hopefully they'll be able to resume it again. And there are other guides that do this walking tour too, but I know Ash was telling us about her own personal connections to the people who have lived in this area. And it was just a great tour. We really enjoyed it. In fact, if I went back to Vancouver, I'd probably do it again. It was that interesting. So, yeah, anyway, if you've been to Stanley Park, if you've done the Hidden Vancouver walking tour, or one of their other tours, let me know. I'd like to hear what you think. And next time I'm in Vancouver, I'll definitely do one of their other walking tours after our good experience here.